All right, this is the Soku rear subframe lockdown kit. Also did the rear differential inserts. Mostly you just need a 19 millimeter, 14 millimeter, a breaker bar, a couple torque wrenches. The big torque for the 14 millimeters is going to be 52 pounds, and then for the 19 is 107 foot. At least that's what I found. I'll cover the rear differential inserts. Pretty simple. Already did them. So they go right here. You're just going to remove these two nuts. You want to lube up the inserts around the rubber, kind of like a gasket type thing around the outside. You're just going to slide them in. They're not going to actually go in very far. Slap the washers or the nuts back on. Torque them down to 52 pounds. And that's it. Now the big thing with this is you're going to want to get your jack and put some lift on the differential to take the weight off of the actual screws and whatnot, to make things a little bit easier. Really not big thing for the differential portion. I mean, it'll help mainly for the rear subframe portion, which is, it's a big key. So put a little bit of weight on it, put it up a little bit. And then for the rear subframe, you can do that separately. You're gonna have, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts that come out. And we'll start at the end here. So we're underneath by where where the exhaust tips are and whatnot. So here, it's this metal piece that runs all the way across. You probably get away with not actually pulling this whole piece out. I pulled it out because I didn't really know what I was doing. That's why I'm making this video. But we got 14 millimeter, 19 millimeter. This is actually where the pieces are going to go. We got 14 millimeter here, another one on the other side, 19 millimeter right there, and a 14 millimeter right here. I already had these parts installed, but I had this piece loosened. You don't want to torque this piece down until you do the front portion of the rear subframe. I made that mistake. I torqued everything down and realized that that is incorrect. And so if we take a quick look at it right here, so you just want to pull out, you can pull out the 19 millimeters in the back all the way, leave the 14s, pull this down. You're going to take, they're orientated correctly. The big washer with the curve goes on the bottom on the subframe, and then the cap top piece goes, they're actually labeled in the packaging, goes on the top. You can just slip it in there. You're going to want to pull off the silver washer. Looks like this. Leave it off is what I'm told by Soku and a number of people. Some installs for other lockdown kits leave these and hammer these tabs out. I guess you keep these if you have a poly. Since this is a solid unit, I guess you don't need it. You're going to slide the bottom piece in, top piece on, and then you're going to push this 19 millimeter bolt back through. Turn it in a little bit to get some tightness so that everything doesn't fall out. Line up the letters if you like. Do it on the other side. You can kind of see pretty decent right there. Make it pretty obvious. Don't tighten it down. Leave everything pretty loose, because we're going to go to the front of the rear subframe, which is this piece right here. I already have the pieces installed in here, but not tightened down yet. And you're going to get these parts, you want to pull out the 19 millimeter completely, loosen down the two in kind of dark colored 14 millimeters. You can leave this piece and this piece on. Big thing is you don't want to have the front or the rear portion of the subframe lockdown kit torqued down, or this won't drop down far enough. You're going to pull off another washer like this, leave it off, and then you're going to have the smaller ones for the top, big washers on the bottom. They label each package individually inside the bigger package. And you want to slide in the top part. It'll slip in kind of, you might have to pull down a little bit to get it up there. Right here. And then the flat washer goes on the bottom. Put the 19 millimeter back in. Tighten up a little bit so you don't fall out and lose your pieces. Do the same to the other side, which I haven't even started yet. It's back there somewhere. Can't really see it where I'm laying at. And then once all the pieces are back in, go ahead and torque everything back up. Probably do it in a kind of a one end, opposite end, front end, and kind of do it like an X pattern. You're gonna want to do, like I said, 107 foot-pounds, what I read on the 19 millimeters, and you're gonna want to do about 52 foot-pound on the 14 millimeters. Pretty straightforward. Just a little confusing, so that's why I threw this video, just in case people had the same questions I did on exactly what needs to come out and what doesn't. And remember, don't do the rear portion and torque it all up before you do the front portion, or it will fail. Not really fail, but your install will fail. All right.